Hi, I'm Cristina Headley from Equip for Equality. If you are a person with a disability or an older adult, you have a right to be free from abuse and neglect and to receive safe and appropriate care from your support workers or caregivers. This video will tell you how to report support worker or caregiver abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation, discuss other actions you can take to stop the harmful behavior, and give you tips for guarding against further harm. First, we'll discuss what abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation are. Abuse includes physical, mental, and sexual abuse. Your support worker or caregiver has abused you if he or she caused you any physical, sexual, or mental harm or injury. Examples include hitting, kicking, pinching, choking, shoving, pushing, biting, slapping, using words or signs, gestures, or other actions to intimidate you, threaten you, or cause you emotional distress or cause you to act out. Sexual abuse includes any sexual behavior or intimate physical contact between a support worker or caregiver and the victim, or inappropriate sexual conduct between the support worker or caregiver and the victim involving the genital area, buttocks, or breasts. A support worker or caregiver can also commit sexual abuse if he or she encourages or coerces you or someone else to engage in a sexual activity with others. You have experienced neglect if a caregiver fails to provide or purposely withholds necessities such as adequate medical and personal care. Financial exploitation is where a caregiver improperly takes or misuses your money, property, or other resources to your disadvantage or to the disadvantage of the support worker or caregiver, facility, agency, or others. Examples include deceiving you into believing the support worker or caregiver is taking your funds to use on something you need when the funds are being used for another purpose. Also, threatening you so that you give money or sign over property to the support worker or caregiver or another person. You do not have to be certain that the support worker or caregiver's behavior rises to the level of abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation in order to take action. If your caregiver has harmed you or acted in a way that makes you uncomfortable or makes you believe you will be harmed, you should report the caregiver's behavior. To report caregiver abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation, you should contact one of the 3 toll-free hotlines. The hotline intake worker will listen to your information and concerns and will determine if the agency is able to help you. If you do not know which hotline to contact, you can call one of them and report your concerns. The hotline worker will help determine the correct agency to receive your report. Each hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One hotline that you may contact is the Illinois Department on Aging Adult Protective Services Unit, or APS. APS is responsible for investigating allegations of abuse, neglect, and financial exploitations of persons with disabilities or older adults who live in a domestic living situation or while engaged in activities in their community. A domestic living situation is either a community-based, unlicensed facility or a residence where an individual with a disability or older adult lives alone, with family, with a support worker or caregiver, or with others. The APS hotline number is 1-866-800-1409. APS will begin its investigation immediately if you are at risk for immediate harm and should investigate all other reports within 7 days. APS will complete an assessment which will include visiting you where you live and may include interviews and contact with other individuals and service agencies. If APS determines that there is a reason to believe you were abused, neglected, or financially exploited, it will create a service plan for you. APS will arrange for protective services for you as long as you or your guardian consents to the assessment and services. Another hotline you may contact is the Office of the Inspector General for the Illinois Department of Human Services, or OIG. OIG investigates allegations of abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation of individuals 18 or older who are receiving mental health or intellectual developmental disability services in facilities or programs that are licensed, certified, funded, or operated by the Department of Human Services. These include community integrated living arrangements, or CILAs, day programs, and state-run mental health or intellectual developmental disabilities facilities. You can contact the OIG Hotline at 1-800-368-1463. OIG will begin its investigation immediately if you are at immediate risk of harm. OIG must take protective actions necessary to make sure you are not in threat of further danger. Upon learning of the report, the facility in which you live is also required to immediately take actions to protect you. If the information supports a finding that you were abused, the facility should remove any employees accused of the harmful behavior from having contact with you or others at the facility until OIG's investigation is complete. You may also contact the Illinois Department of Public Health, or IDPH. IDPH is responsible for investigating allegations of abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation of residents in nursing homes or other long-term care facilities, hospitals, and state-run intellectual or developmental disabilities facilities. IDPH Nursing Home Hotline is 1-800-252-4343. IDPH is required to investigate your report within 24 hours if you are at immediate risk of harm. IDPH should investigate all reports alleging abuse or neglect within 7 days and all other reports within 30 days. IDPH can arrange for protective services for you to prevent further abuse or neglect, including nursing care, a temporary change in placement, counseling, and other social services. There are other ways to take action against a harmful caretaker. Call 911 or local police department if you fear for your safety or believe you are in danger. Support worker and caregiver abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation are crimes. You can also file in court for an order of protection. An order of protection is a written order entered by a judge that prohibits someone from committing abuse, neglect, or exploitation against you. Please see Equip for Equality's fact sheet on orders of protection for persons with disabilities for more information. In addition, ask for help. Tell a friend or someone you trust about what is happening to you and ask for help. If you have a guardian or someone else with authority to make decisions for you, tell that person about the harmful behavior and ask for their help. If your decision maker is the one harming you, you should make a report to a state agency and ask the court to remove your decision maker. In addition to making a hotline report, you can take other actions to advocate for different support worker or caregiver. If your support worker or caregiver is provided through the Department of Rehabilitation Services, you may contact the Client Assistance Program, or CAP, at 1-800-641-3929 to report the support worker's or caregiver's harmful behavior and request a different support worker or caregiver. If your support worker or caregiver is provided through another state program or private agency, the program or agency should have a system in place for receiving complaints and taking action to protect its clients. If you receive no help from the program or agency, contact one of the organizations at the end of this video for assistance. Please note that a facility, agency, or program cannot punish you or take action against you because of your or another's report of abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. If you have a private caregiver and wish to end your caregiver's employment or involvement in your care, for your protection, you should consider having a family member, close friend, or someone else that you trust be present with you when you take action against your caregiver. You should also consider taking the other actions discussed above to protect yourself from retaliation by the caregiver. Below are additional tips you can take to guard against further abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Try to keep in touch with family, friends, or others you trust and become involved in clubs, agencies, community organizations, or other social groups. Being isolated may make you more vulnerable to abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Watch out for situations that suggest abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation is occurring or is likely to occur. If these situations occur, report them. For more information, contact Equip for Equality at equipforequality.org or the agencies listed below.